Thanks for joining me on another session in our ongoing series on OneSource tax provision functionality. We are going to talk today about payable mapping, and we've talked payables on other episodes in the past, in particular buckets. So what this has to do with is how do we get the software to automatically post things in the payable where we want them to, and in particular, the items that are set up for auto posting. So for instance, your return basis provision number, how do we get that over into the payables in a way that's useful to us? So just to go back a little bit, when we talked about setting up the payables, there are three main things. And at the top of the, what I would call the apex of our hierarchy is the payable bucket, right? That is what account really are we trying to represent within our payable? Is it our federal payables? Is it a receivable? Is it our state payable receivable? Is it foreign? Is it FIN 48 if you're using the payable module to track your FIN 48? Then our roll-ups are like our categories of activities. So is it cash related? Is it reclass related, provision? What is it? And then our transaction types is very granular at the base of our pyramid, and that's our exact activity. What kind of cash activity is it? Are we doing a refund? Is it Q1 payment? Is it an estimate? Is it an extension, etc.? So if we were to run one of our reports, and I'm just kind of going to the payable, I'll run the payable roll forward. And there is a report in here called Year Bucket Breakout with Roll-Ups. I'm going to run those two together. So the problem here is that when it comes to the payable auto postings, the default out of the software is to post it to this column called liability posting. Now, if we are running the Fed by itself or the state report by itself, you will know exactly what that number is. But if we are running the two together, as we are in this report, anything that drops into liability posting, you don't know how much of that is related to your federal activity, how much of it is related to your state. So what we want to do is try to carve that up so that you will have usable information at once when you run the report. You don't have to go take the report and try to carve it up by going into your review and edit and you know, your data entry area and dumping something out and kind of running pivot tables, etc. So we are going to go over to my data sets, and in our data set administration area, we will go to the data set parameters. So right here, items 10 through 17 is where I am kind of putting together my my buckets. So there's specific ones for the federal versus state versus foreign, and then there's specific ones for the return to provision for each of the same thing. So this is the actual parameter that you will put in. It will be alphanumeric, and then you're going to put the parameter value in, which is the code that you set up when you set up the bucket. And this will automatically post the information over to the receivable payable in the correct area, so that if you were to look at that report, as you saw earlier, you will see your provision showing up. The federal will show up in the federal column, the state in the state column, the foreign in the foreign column, etc. And similarly for the RTP. And that's how you can go ahead and map your auto adjustments over to the payable for more useful information. Thanks, and we look forward to seeing you on our next session.